Well, Shauna, thank you for joining us in this whole project of engaging your devotions.
Yeah.
Excited to hear from you today about this whole topic of personal transformation of character. I know it has played a big role in your life.
Yeah.
It's been a drastic change from the
Oh,
Shauna we
sure.
first knew. And so yeah, we want to hear from you a little bit maybe. Let's begin with your journey in this whole personal transformation.
Well, there's many avenues I could take with this one, but a quick recap because a lot of people already know my story as I use it frequently, even in youth group or even when I'm preaching. It's just I came from a really broken place of, alcohol and finding my identity in boys and that lifestyle, very popular high school life, but really not knowing the Lord and knowing what that meant. And so seeking Him out in the wrong ways, in the wrong areas in life. Because when you're apart from Christ, there's this hole that needs to be filled. And our soul cries out for Him, but not knowing who that was and who He was. Obviously, I went to the world. And so from that, and journeying through that, it's been about 7 years now. I had a really good friend in high school, and actually your daughters were a big part of that.
Yeah.
That journey, and just pouring into me and loving me well, inviting me to youth group, helping me to get involved in drama and different avenues of learning about Christ in very tangible, unlegalistic ways that just really spoke to my heart, because I saw God as this dictator and this distant being and not this personal, relational God that we know Him to be. And so through that and through my time, I've obviously come to accept Him. And so that's where the transformation really began, was He took this person who was so broken and just started to put those pieces back together. And even when I preach, I talk about my third year of university because I was so critical, where God just really broke me and made me confront these issues of the past that I had just kind of pushed aside and just pretended they weren't there. And so there's a lot of things that could be done or could be said. But it's
You say, our girls were part of this journey with you, and we've been working together this last while, and so I know some of the story, and I know the drastic change that has taken place, how the very goal of your life has changed. It is far more than just praying a prayer, walking forward during a evangelistic meeting. This has drastically changed Shauna's life. No, you went to Bible college in New Brunswick. And Kingswood University, which of course is we'll have to plug that. But Kingswood University is part of the Wesleyan tradition, and the Wesleyan tradition flowed out of the holiness movement of way back when. And the holiness movement, of course, was really, really big on that personal transformation. Maybe talk a little bit about the influence of that movement in your transformation.
Holiness is actually something that gets me really excited, as you know, because we talk about it often. And I just love it, and I've loved studying it. Where to start? The holiness movement started way back when, and we don't need to get into the history of it because I really don't know the full history. But it's really about taking these steps to really help you grow in Christ. And so whether that's fasting or spending time in solitude, which is my favorite, and I can actually refer to this book, it's by Richard Foster. It's a great resource, and it actually walks through all the disciplines, or like the bigger ones, of how to actually engage in them and what they look like, what that means. Because even like prayer or service or worship is a form of discipline. And so on a Sunday, we think of worship, and maybe in that moment it can be a time of discipline, but it can also be when we're at home, when we're alone. We can have those times of worshiping God. And it's not just music that we're worshiping God with, but it's also with our attitude, and when we see creation and we take those moments and we praise Him in those little moments. And like I mentioned, solitude for me, actually the first year of university, we took this class called Spiritual Formation, and the challenge was to spend 6 hours alone with God. And as you know, that does not go well.
6 hours alone.
Does not go well.
Yeah.
But what I learned was my soul was really craving that. That because I am so outgoing and so excitable and energetic, and like I just love people.
Yeah.
That God really showed me in that time that's why my soul had been missing. In order for me to grow, like I have to tangibly take time away.
Yeah, and when you say grow, it's not just this fuzzy grow. It's this idea of growing in holiness, growing in character, growing in all these different areas. I mean, one of the things that in our small groups will be handed out is this tool that will help people work this through, and it lists all these different things where we may need to grow, and so we become very actively involved then in intentionally growing in our character. And so spiritual disciplines play into that.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
And with holiness, like it's just a big thing that sometimes scares people. I know for me going into Kingswood, I wouldn't have heard of that because I came from first a Catholic background and then I came from the Baptist background, and so that was awkward to talk about. And I had to study for 4 years, like ask questions, hound people down, hound professors, and be like, what the heck is all this about? Because I do not get it. What's the differences here? And so I really had to wrestle through even the theology of it, of the two very polar opposites. And so what I've learned about holiness is that like it is taking these steps to tangibly work out your faith with fear and trembling.
Yeah.
Right? And so whether that's a character change, whether that's me needing time alone with God, whatever that looks like, it's, yes, God meets us and He's already there working, but it's us taking that step further.
It's partnering with God, right? Yeah, and that's what we're really working through this winter, is this whole partnership with God to grow in these different areas. Yeah, excellent.
And maybe in that partnering, it's to help our brothers and sisters out in Christ. Like, if I see someone stumbling, like, call that out. Or partner with them, because holiness isn't just something that we want for ourselves. It's something we should want for the body of Christ. Right? It's what I want for you. It's what I want for everybody.
Well, and wherever you stand theologically, we all know it's not even what we want. It's what Jesus wants for His church, for His people. So this is an important thing, and I love that about the Wesleyan tradition, that they really take that serious. And so you have to pursue that intentionally. In our small groups, again, we'll be working that through. But a couple weeks ago in church, we talked about confronting each other and how do we do that on this horizontal relational level. You mentioned this a little bit in just one of your comments, like confronting somebody else, the role of becoming a holy community. It requires that there's other people to walk alongside, to confront, to pray, to cry. Any other thoughts about that?
Yeah, a big part of taking these steps of holiness and transformation actually comes from a model of John Wesley and something we did at Kingswood. We have a Pulse Day where basically we have seminars, but in that we have these band groups or cell groups where we meet weekly with someone who is of the same gender, in the same age bracket, on the same journey in life. And you meet with them weekly and ask about your life, basically. And whether that's confession of sin, whether that's prayer, whether that's serving together, they literally drilled this into us, that it was so important to have people of accountability, right? And don't get mentoring and accountability confused, because that can be very easily confused. But it's a conversation between two people where, you confess your sin, you dive deeper. And this was, even in John Wesley's time, it was super hardcore. Like, they would drill each other and be like, basically, like, they would look at you and be like, how'd you sin? Tell us everything. And that at first it was so nerve-wracking. To my friend Mimi, we were band partners for a while, actually, and we still would, even now, check in with each other. And we just grill each other, and at first it's like, oh, like, I'm perfect, like, don't talk to me, don't ask me these questions. But the moment you start, even in that perspective, and allowing the Spirit to move and bring you to those places that you don't want to be taken, transformation, like, it just happened. And it's difficult and it's awkward, and like, sometimes you don't want to, but I've noticed even in my own life that He just has these ways of knocking you down, but it's in love, and He wants you to grow, and He wants like that holiness in our lives, like, and not that that's 100% perfect, but it's me taking these steps so I'm not who I once was.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So it's like 7 years ago, I was probably around grade 11, like I would have been drinking and flirting with boys. Like, I mean, now, like, I don't drink, and not that there's anything wrong if you have a glass of wine or whatever, but for me in my life, because it was such a big thing, I know relationally with Christ, like, I can't. Because I'd rather not hinder my relationship with Christ
Right.
for a social drink. Or, you know, I mean, flirting with boys can still happen, but maybe not to the same extent. I mean, hey, it happens.
Yeah. So, but you're bringing
You know
something.
what I mean?
Yeah. So you're bringing some. I love this about, like I said, about the Wesleyan tradition. They take holiness very serious. I think some people get scared off by the word holiness, though. It's you call it even right living, a life that's set apart for Jesus, that kind of thing. I think it puts maybe a little better spin on it. But yeah, the intentionality to pursue that holy living, and you brought up some great things here in this short conversation already. The role of community in that, the role of spiritual disciplines in that, confession, things of that nature. Speak to people who have never really thought about holiness and intentional pursuit of that. What would you tell them? Where would they start?
Gosh, I think it's in the little things that you probably already are doing and not even realizing. If you pray, if you love to pray, maybe do more of it. Or Carolyn talked about how she meditates with her journals, right? Maybe that can be a form of discipline and taking these steps to grow in holiness, right? And sometimes you think it's this big, long process, but I think it's in the little things. That it's in the mundane, everyday moments that we forget to intentionally give to God and give back to Him. Whether that's on a Sunday morning as we worship Him, sometimes I find it's easy to go through the motions because this is what we do on Sunday.
Right.
But it's a change of perspective, really. How it starts is because our hearts long for God, whether we know it or not. And so, whether we're just starting off or we're well seasoned, like, it doesn't matter, because regardless of which moment you're at with Christ, He's there, right?
Yeah, he wants us. He longs for us, and he wants us to pursue Him in this relationship, to live out our part. And like, one of the things I think there's a real danger in, especially those who have been in this Christian journey for a long time, to say, Christ has done a great work in me. I can personally I can see how He has really dealt with some of my anger issues. But quite frankly, that was probably 15 years ago when He dealt with those. Right. And I can easily just keep going back to 15 years ago and just say, wow, look at what Christ did in my life. And indeed He did, and I praise Him for it. But what is He doing in my life now? Am I still pursuing Him in that?
Because it's so easy to get comfortable. And I'm guilty of that. Like, I definitely know that. But that's when you take the time, or even if you're sharing your testimony with someone, reflect on it. Because if you're just going back to the same old things that He's changed and He's not changing anything now, really question and wrestle with where you're at spiritually. Because I've definitely had to, like, coming in to Emmanuel, like, coming from this Wesleyan holiness movement, I was really stuck in that idea of holiness. And sometimes, like, there's pros and cons. Coming into Emmanuel, where it's more a little rough around the edges, people are definitely here and need God, and not that they don't in the Wesleyan church, it's just walking into a pastoral role. Sometimes you get bogged down with, I need to be perfect. And so even like these last few months, God's really transformed my heart in that, because He's made me realize that I'm not perfect, and that's okay, because I'm on this journey. And so I'm so thankful for God bringing me here even into the time that He has and is continuing, like, I'm not leaving. But
you bring something up that's really, that's it's almost part and partial. I mean, we pursue holiness, but it's almost inevitable when we start taking steps towards legalism, right? And we don't ever want to do that. Like, we continue to look to Jesus to set us free. We continue to look for His forgiveness. We continue that with that humble attitude and recognizing sin. And that, I think the continual pursuit of holiness is actually what keeps us humble, right? The
Right.
recognition that I continue to need to grow in this.
Right.
Yeah, this tool that the small groups are going to be talking about, it is actually very intentional. It might even seem a little wooden, like a little artificial, because
That's all right.
there's actually a whole list of different character traits, and people are just asked to pick one, to pray that over, say, okay, which one should I work on, and to memorize some scripture on that is one of the disciplines, of course, to
Right.
journal about it, to ask
Journal.
Jesus about it, to listen to his voice. I mean, you really get into that,
Yeah.
the
for sure.
discipline aspects, but then you would have, of course, the small group discussion around that, and that becomes the horizontal relationships again.
Right.
Anyway, Shauna, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thanks for
sharing
having
this.
me.
I look forward to hearing the stories coming out of our small groups, and I trust that people will be able to come to you maybe even
Oh yeah,
and,
anytime.
and talk a little bit about your experience in this, because
I'd
you
love to.
do bring with that Wesleyan background something really special
Yeah.
to us as a community of faith. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the future holds.